music. It's an emergency, boys. We have an emergency. It's an emergency podcast episode of Everyone Hates Us, the podcast dedicated to the art of winning and the beautiful sport of baseball. And we're going to talk a lot of baseball and a lot of bit of basketball. We're going to actually, I take that back. We're going to keep it short today. But I'm your host, Lee, joined by my co-hosts, Colin Murphy, Dan Grievitz. We're jumping in on an emergency episode because for some reason, Dan and Colin, all the good stuff happens on Tuesday after we record our episode. And so it's a dry news week. We're just like, yeah, let's come up with some fun stuff to do. And then, of course, the fun stuff drops like after we're done recording. So
it's clearly a conspiracy, and Pablo Torre should find out about this.
Oh my God. And we'll talk about him. But I want to start by talking about something that really stuck in my craw. And this is like a pretty big event, I think, just because it's kind of unprecedented. Really strange thing to happen. So to set the stage, I believe this was 3 nights ago. Astros, September 4th. It's not September 4th. I made it September 4th. Sorry. No, it was I believe 3 nights ago. Yankees versus Astros, top 5. Here we go. Framber Valdez is on the mound. And I want to draw your attention to the catcher, who Mr. Salazar. And apparently, like,
high fly ball.
Before that, Salazar was kind of waving Framber off, and then ended up like, and Framber apparently was frustrated. He gives up a grand slam.
High fly ball.
Trent Grisham. Doesn't get more middle than that, by the way, boys. 96.
Yeah.
Center cut. Like,
right. Yeah.
The part of the roast beef you never want. Like that part.
Dude, yeah.
Holy moly. It's
the catcher's fault, clearly.
Well, we'll get to that. As much as I enjoy trying to do mental gymnastics on this show and hot taking and, not taking the low-hanging fruit, there is no way I can justify that as being the catcher's fault. just is no way. I don't know how to blame the catcher on that. Anyway, yeah, it's headed to the Crawford boxes. Oh, look, Landry's. Colin, that's that's Tillman Fertitta's company. Anyway,
I know whose company it is.
It's headed straight for the Crawford boxes. Trent Grisham, grand slam take.
Also, Trent Grisham somehow has 29 home runs this year.
He's right there. My boy. Carry me through the playoffs, Trent. Or through the consolation bracket, sorry.
A grand
Trent,
slam for Grisham.
Just chilling.
His magical season continues. It's 6-0 Yanks.
Just a
Michael K on the call.
Swing.
Everyone's favorite
Framber Valdez
announcer.
on the mound. 2 outs. Bases loaded. Grisham finds the Crawford boxes. Touch them all.
29th home run for Trent Grisham.
All
It is
right.
nice to see Bellinger happy.
It's funny to see him kind of still do the hoppy celebration that like nearly ended his career. Okay, so next batter, we've got Anthony Volpe at the plate. And oh boy. So apparently this is the point at which there was a miscommunication between Framber Valdez and is it Israel Salazar? Israel Salazar.
I don't know.
Call me Ishmael.
I'm a horrible person.
César, apparently.
Huh?
César
Salazar, right?
I just Googled it, yeah.
I'm sorry. There we go. César Salazar. Okay. So César Salazar is putting the glove up, expecting something. I'm assuming something low. And instead the fastball, I'll just play the clip. It rises. Boom! Right in the rib. Good God. I need to, we're talking about, it is not even close. And he caught him right in which is like a pretty nasty cross up. Like, that is not where you want to get hit. And apparently this is like a Framber Valdez thing, where he will crash out in the middle of an outing and just have complete meltdowns. But it has never reached this point until now. Framber Valdez then proceeds to walk away after hitting his teammate. You see him staring, like he does an immediate 180. Salazar's looking up like, what the hell? And then he just kind of like pulls his mask and goes up there and is trying to say like, hey, what? And then just, okay. And then he looks to the dugout. And this poor guy, just gives the ball back to Framber and has to act like nothing happened. I'm going to reserve judgment for a second here and let you guys go in. But Dan, like on a Bush League scale of 1 to 10, what are we talking here?
I mean, this is really bad. This is, I haven't seen anything like this before. 10. Like this is your own teammate. Like, what are you doing?
Oh my God. And Murph, like, chime in. Or what are we thinking? 1 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, action wise, we're probably talking about a 4 here, but like locker room vibe wise, it's probably like a 9 or a 10. Like, it's not much more messed up than to do this to a teammate. Like, I mean, the catcher, he's got some gear, taking a ball, like all things considered, it's not like the worst thing. But as far as like a pure betrayal of trust, like with your teammates and the locker room and everything else, it's hard to think of something worse than in the middle of the game intentionally like just hitting your own guy. For a competitive reason, from just a trust reason. Like, every catcher going forward is going to have this in the back of their mind that he might be trying to spike me if things don't go his way. I'm just thinking of other bad things you can do in the locker room. Those stories about Barry Bonds and Jeff Kent, like slapping and punching each other and stuff. But like people get that competitive dudes doing competitive dude things, off the field. This is mid game choosing to basically plunk your own teammate. Again, probably not as like risk of injury as punching someone in a locker room. But I think from a trust standpoint that this is tiers worse. This is, don't want us to talk about like, the code with athletes and players. Cause Steve Kerr kind of made a mockery at that with his actions, but this really is one of those things where you just instantly lose the trust of a lot of the guys on your team.
Yeah. Here's my problem with it. It's the thing that I had the biggest problem with is that Framber, like Colin mentioned, he's a vet.
Yeah.
He's been here for a while. He's established, and he's one of the best pitchers on the team. César Salazar, whose name I couldn't even remember, even though I had typed it out maybe 3 minutes prior, there's a cup of coffee and there's like shot of espresso in the majors. Okay. Like he's had 36 games in 3 years and he has to wear it. And I think the worst part of this is Framber was matched up with Martin Maldonado, Yainer Diaz, but Maldonado ain't taking that shit. Let's be real. Okay. Like,
he would never do it to someone like Maldonado, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Other part of this.
That's the part of it that I hate is that it's bullying this poor guy who has 36 games in the majors across 3 years. He's 29 years old. We're not talking about, the next Adley Rutschman here. Okay. And it just sucks. Like you just have to wear that because this is your cup of coffee in the majors. And
look at even his reaction, right? Like that's the most, not to, it's like, psychology, like, someone's reaction, but that is the most rolling my eyes that whatever, man. And then like an appeal to authority with the dugout. It's kind of like he's kind of like, dude, what? Then you kind of see him kind of the acceptance of like with the eye roll as he looks the dugout and kind of just like, you guys seeing this? Anyone gonna do anything? Like I can't do anything.
Right.
And like then it's kind of the helplessness and resignation at the end of it. When he just throws it back when he realizes no one is going to do anything.
Dude, shout out Volpe. That's a great look from Volpe, by the way. If you're watching on YouTube, we've got the freeze frame of Volpe just looking, what the fuck is going on over here? Like, oh my gosh. This was an ugly incident. And what's sad about baseball is you're paid for your production. And unfortunately for Framber, You know, he doesn't have a year to make it up. He is on his platform year. So this means he becomes a free agent at the end of the season. If you're a team, do you sign him on a discount? Like Murph, like for the D-backs, like say Kendrick was ready to splurge for one more, and you could have Framber for, let's say 75 over 4. You know,
He's going to go for a lot more than that.
Yeah, but like, you know, let's say some ridiculous number like that.
Like that's basically the contract we gave Mad Bum, just to compare your numbers.
Yeah, but that was like a, you know. Okay. Also, Framber is not as decorated as Madison Bumgarner, so we're not doing.
Framber's also been pitching well.
Yeah.
Hey.
Really? But seriously, this is so like if you were able to sign him at a discount, Murph, are you thinking about it?
I think you always have to weigh in what the value add for head cases like this are. I mean, I certainly wouldn't say I'd be thrilled to be rooting for someone that would do something like this, but I mean, in this weird case that, I mean, if he would accept 75 over 4 from the Diamondbacks, yes, I would choose to look the other way on this incident and be like, well, the talent there kind of justifies it a little bit.
Jesus Christ. That's all I wanted, Murph. That's all I wanted to get out of you.
That's just
I just want you to admit that you would totally still sign this guy.
For 75 over 4, you guys would be elated too. I mean,
we'll pay 135 over 4.
Like, yeah, I wouldn't like it, but at the same time, like chemistry wise, like team chemistry wise, I do feel like pitchers like can be weirder, and like this would fit under that. Like they wouldn't like them, but they don't need to like it. There's not as much of a teamwork aspect. The only one it would affect is the catcher, but I feel like if it's not a guy getting a cup of coffee in the majors, he probably is not going to do this. So you don't worry about that, and you send him out there to pitch. You wouldn't like him, but like you don't have to like the guy.
I mean, by all accounts,
plays with him.
Like, do I think he's going to pull this against like Gabby Moreno? Like, no. So
yeah.
No,
I'm here to stay. You're here until your contract runs out. Like,
yeah. So to back up DG's point on that, as he said, you're only really in the locker room once every 5 days. The rest of the time you're in the bullpen. Pitchers are kind of weird and keep to themselves anyways. You really only have the rapport with the catcher. Gabby Moreno's pretty well established at this point in Arizona. So yeah, if it's at a discount, 100%. But I don't think this is going to affect his stock overall. People are going to look at this and they're going to be like, asshole move, but yeah.
Like a slight ding, but yeah, like he's a good starting pitcher in the majors. Like eats up innings. Like
he's a lefty. Yeah. Workhorse.
There's a lot going for him.
Pitching is so hard to come by. Yeah, the market for him is still gonna be huge. Like even with his lame excuse afterwards, which honestly is, I don't want to say it's the worst part of it because it feels like it's almost like a Norm Macdonald joke or whatever, but it does feel almost worse that he had like hours to think of something and that's what he came up with.
Yeah, no, definitely the post-game press conference was
I couldn't hear.
Yeah, a little bit insulting to people's intelligence. But Dan, you brought up a great point about pitchers being mercurial assholes, being hyper competitive assholes. And so that's been part of the makeup, and the Dodgers obviously have put up with some, and even to Clayton Kershaw. And I'm not going to call Clayton Kershaw an asshole, but on his pitching day, he is not to be bothered. Like it's like a super. They're wound up very tight. Oh, yeah. And
same with Scherzer. Like
Scherzer was the next example.
Scherzer's a psycho.
Scherzer's a psycho. But to that point, neither of these guys have gone to that length, right? And I think that speaks volumes. Framber kind of strikes me as like, yes, this will get papered over if he signs with a different team as being like change of scenery, new big contract. Like I have to kind of, that's all in the past now. I have to conduct myself as a professional, blah, 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 blah. The thing I don't like is that, you're bullying the dude. And that's the one that my big takeaway for me is like, why are you bullying a dude who has 36 fucking games in Major League Baseball? Like,
it's incredibly shitty. I think less of him as a person, but I do think he's going to get paid because he's still
Yeah.
a good baseball player.
He's a very good left-handed baseball pitcher. Like
Yeah.
that is a
Yeah.
that if there was a recipe for money, like that's the one you start with. Like
I would almost even argue that, like, pre all the legal stuff, which I know is tough to forget at this point, but even someone like who's the Dodgers guy that got suspended? Spacing
Which
on his
one?
name now. The suspended for the
Urias,
no
Bauer?
Trevor Bauer.
Bauer. I think Bauer's
You know what's
stuff-
hilarious to me is Murph might be the only white baseball fan in America who doesn't remember Trevor Bauer. Like,
but no, I would argue his like rep and everything that he was known for, like, was actually probably more detrimental to people signing him than this will end up being.
oh,
Even though-
100%. No,
Even though, like, yeah, like, because Bauer's whole thing obviously was like he would disrupt the clubhouse and like was kind of just made his thing everyone's thing. Framber, from my understanding, is kind of just like he's very childish and does stuff like this, but at the most part keeps to himself. It's not quite the same level of can disrupt a clubhouse, even doing something as like I mean, this really is kind of a betrayal.
It is.
this is pretty. Yeah, I mean, in game, this is about as betrayal as it gets.
But at the same time, Bauer is like throwing balls over the center field wall, showing up as manager. Like I understand why teams wouldn't want that. Like this is sort of disguised enough that he feels okay to be like, oh, this wasn't intentional. Like,
Fellas, I think
shitty.
we all know why Bauer is not welcome in a clubhouse.
Well,
okay?
yeah,
It's
of
a big conspiracy. You know, like you know what my favorite comment about Trevor Bauer was he's the lifted truck version of Colin Kaepernick. And I was like, that is too spot on. Like
that is
I was like, but no, I agree with Murph wholeheartedly. And it's exactly what he said. Framber doing this is like, yo, you let off a really stinky fart in an elevator that we're gonna be in for a little while. Trevor Bauer is like, you can't stop farting. And it smells so bad all the time. Like, please leave. Yeah, this as nasty as it was is going to be a one-time thing. I doubt he'll ever do something like this again. Just knowing that.
oh, probably like apparently he was like talking shit about his teammates earlier in the year in interviews and stuff. Like he'll still be, not a great clubhouse presence, but yeah,
Oh
I
my
don't
God,
think
what a
he'll do stuff
miserable
like this.
fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly. All right, fuck you, Framber. But still, I'll take you over Trevor Bauer. No question about it. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah.
because with Bauer comes the baggage of his fans. And I'm just like, I don't want you assholes on my fan base. Get out.
Also,
Oh, God.
just think about even with us. I mean, we have a lot of Dominicans on the team anyway. I think that'll help.
Yeah, it does help to have like a lot of Spanish speaking. Like, but like this is
Astros
against
do
Cesar
too.
Salazar, who speaks Spanish. It's like,
Yeah, but
This is
I'm talking
bullshit,
about guys
dude.
who play on the national team.
yeah, but like I'm more,
guys that Framber is going to see in the WBC, like not just Dominicans, just guys he's actually going to play with.
that's fucked up.
What? Ketel Marte is going to start on
Murph,
that team.
I literally just got through saying don't bully Cesar Salazar. Here you are just bullying him like implicitly. This is just out of pocket, Murph.
I mean, I'm not happy for saying this. It's just like this is how it's going to be.
I just thought I'd say it though.
I mean, I'm just trying to be honest. Like this is what everyone would do. Everyone would overlook this depending on what the number ends up being.
Dan, are you getting the vibe that on a particularly hot day, if Colin was pitching, he didn't like his catcher?
I would never. Are you
Something
kidding? No.
No, I didn't know. I have not gotten that back.
Like the opening of The Stranger, like it was super hot. My God, it was hot. Is that why you shot him? It was hot.
The other fun one from this day that we like briefly talked about on Tuesday though was also Freeland.
Freeland's crash
oh,
out, yeah.
Yeah. Like I didn't watch it like when I like told you guys on Tuesday, but rewatching it, it looks to me more like Devers just checking to make sure that ball stays fair.
Yeah, he's like kind of like doing the body English lean, like he's like, come on.
I don't even think he flipped the bat. Like, he was slow going down the line, but again, I think he was just checking to see if the ball was fair. Like, especially in like today's MLB. Like, what? Like, that is not even pimping it really at all. That's not even the top 25% of pimp jobs. Like, Kyle Freeland, dude, you're on the 2025 Rockies. Your ERA is mid fives. Like, don't let's not pretend that you haven't gotten banged on.
You know what happened is like, you remember the scene from Space Jam where they all get their powers taken from them? Like,
Yeah.
I think Madison Bumgarner and Hunter Strickland just like entered like Kyle Freeland's body for like just one pitch, and they're like,
I think it's clear that Kyle Freeland was holding out hope that the Rockies would end the season on like a 30-something win streak, so that they would avoid 100 losses. I think that was their 100th loss.
oh,
So yeah, that's why he was pissed. That's why
gotcha.
he hit his breaking point.
So
it's
one
important to
other-
set attainable goals, Kyle.
Yeah.
One other fun thing I saw from this was his quote after the game, where he specifically called out, he's like, show me up like that in the first inning. He has an 8.43 ERA in the first inning.
How dare you do what everybody else is doing?
Like, it's mind-boggling to me that this is the line. I mean, I guess everyone has their breaking point. They've lost 100 games 3 straight years now, and obviously the season's probably been miserable, but dude, he's done nothing different from what everyone else has done to you all year long, especially early. So that was also a weird crash out from the same day.
Yeah. No, but a lot less notable since, like, you know, Kyle Freeland's frustration is very understandable. It's like, yeah, I get it. It's a rough year.
It was fun though to hear that basically like no one backed him.
Oh yeah, like absolutely nobody had his back.
No one backed either of these guys. Like everyone's been hard, I feel like, on Framber, but also even Freeland, everyone's like soft. That is just soft.
Yeah, just like, what is the hell are you talking about? Have you
Even the
watched a
old
baseball
school-
game in the
Yeah.
last like 3 years? Like that is normal.
Even the old school people are like, no, like,
Just let it go, bro.
Just
like
what?
Yeah.
Like
It reminds me of the Alec Boehm thing a couple weeks ago, where he like stopped the game for like 30 minutes complaining about like one of those microphone domes in the outfield, thinking it was like some sort of like it was distracting him, but it's been literally there for like 3 years. And even John Kruk on the Phillies broadcast was saying like, come on, dude, like what are we doing?
also, dude, why are we stopping the game for Alec Boehm? Let's keep the
So
bullying going.
rude. See, Colin, no, we got to stop bullying guys.
My favorite memory of Alec Boehm is that stupid "Sayo, ayo, ay," that the Phillies fans always chant when he'd come up right before striking out in the NLCS. It was like, honestly, loved hearing that song. I really loved, Citizens Bank Park cheering it along to watch their guy just blow it.
Oh, my favorite Alec Boehm moment is I fucking hate this place. Like,
Oh, I don't know.
I hate this fucking place. And he's just like walking around like it got caught like on the. I think it got caught on John Boy. Like Jimmy actually did the lip read.
Oh God.
You want to talk about a bad place to say that? Like Philly.
Yeah, I mean that's
Very
a very
bad place to say
understanding
that.
fan base. Yeah.
Yeah, we're very empathetic. Anyway, well, speaking of empathy, we'll be right back. And we're gonna get into some NBA drama. All right, guys, I got to set up for this, so let's see.
Nice. I got to burn my next Tuesday rant because it was going to be on Freeland.
I mean, you got to come up with a new one.
I failed to use. I completely spaced, but you asked if there were any other examples. I couldn't find any baseball ones, but I did find an offensive lineman like saying that he let someone like he was pissed that his quarterback was sucking, so he let someone hit him on purpose so that he would get hurt.
Oh my god!
I think I saw a documentary on that. It's called The Longest Yard.
I mean, it happened. I mean, Bull Durham also came to mind with the intentionally giving up home runs, but apparently it actually happened. Lomas Brown on the Lions said he did it in 1994, and they like found the game.
Wow,
that's dirty.
Yeah. Like linemen normally are so ride or die. Like the only other one I can really remember was a big one was like the Seahawks. Their drive ended after like a massive sack. Wilson's going over to dap up all the linemen. And Dwayne Brown just looks at him. He's like, I am blocking for the pocket. You need to stay in the pocket if there's a pocket. And Wilson's just not even really listening. He's like, oh, yeah, man. Yeah, we'll be better. We got this going. And he's just trying to do a vibes thing. And Dwayne Brown's like, no. Like, he's like just trying to get him to focus. Like, he's like, no, you got to stop. Like, he's clearly so pissed off at Wilson.
Oh, my God.
Malin got caught on a hot mic, and yeah,
that was his thing.
Yeah,
like he would always bounce out. You know what I mean? Like he would bounce everything out, and it's infuriating.
Yeah,
but which is why why even pay for linemen? Like the Seahawks would always Seahawks fans would always complain like our line fucking sucks. It's like yeah, because you guys don't use it, So like, why the fuck would you pay for one?
Also, sacks are typically a quarterback stat.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the Bears' sacks cut in half when Dalton was starting versus Justin Fields. Like that line did not change. I promise you, midseason. It was the same line.
Well, yes. But sometimes, like, yeah, I'll just paraphrase the quote real quick, but he's like, the quarterback's throwing interceptions, just everything. So I looked at Kevin Glover, our center, and said, this is it. I'm getting him out of the game. So I got the gator arms on the guy in the last minute. He got around me. He hit him, and he did something to his finger, and he came out of the game. Dave Creed came in. So he like let him get hurt on purpose.
Insane.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's so dickish.
1994 Lions.
Just
They were
the paragon of success.
They were still decent then. But that's
Yeah,
not too far off their NFC Championship game appearance.
That was like
is this
92,
like Barry Sanders?
91.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barry Sanders, yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, because like we beat him in the playoffs in
damn.
'93 because that's Favre's first playoff win.
They won the division in 93.
Yeah, but then we beat them in Detroit in the playoffs. So that's all that really matters.
But then they finished. Oh wait, they went 9-7 next year.
Apparently, so yeah, this was an interview in 2012. He had no remorse. He was like, as you can tell, I'm just not a big fan of Scott Mitchell. He won't be getting any Christmas presents from me this year. Still holding a grudge against his poor quarterback.
Hey man, you don't get to that point in like your career without being a little bit petty, I guess. So fucking hey. All right, guys, let's get to this NBA thing. I actually want to start this off with what I hold here right now is a tasty cake, and it's Coffee Cake Junior, which is, I'm not going to eat it on air, but it's not a fucking butterscotch crimpet. So I go to a unnamed sandwich shop that I'm not going to shout out. And I'm like, guys, where's the butterscotch? And they're like, oh, no, man, we're not bringing tasty cake. We're not buying any more tasty cake products. So whatever's out there is whatever's out there. And I was like, are you serious? Like, this is like one of the only places in LA that you can get tasty cake. And they're like, yeah, I guess like, management thought it wasn't a good idea to keep buying this. Well, as it turns out, this is Jersey Mike's, and they're owned by a private equity company called Blackstone. And of course, private equity ruins everything, including baseball, including just buying sports teams. They ruin everything. And so, what would be really nice is if we had an owner who was in tech and just had tons and tons of money and spent it instead of acting like a private equity group, that would be awesome. Well, have I got news for you guys? We've got an owner in tech, the sixth richest person on the planet by net worth, Mr. Steve Ballmer, former CEO of Microsoft, investor extraordinaire. And Pablo Torre of Pablo Torre finds out, which, by the way, real quick sidebar, boys. Best podcast on the internet right now? Like best podcast? Best sports podcast, hands down, I feel like, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the consistency isn't there episode to episode, but like all the major stories in sports that have been broken by him. I'm talking about like scandals, not like trades or like transactional stuff, like actual in-depth like stuff has all been broken by him. But obviously, because these things take a while to come out, like they end up rehashing older things. And like some of the episodes, there was one around the finals that was kind of a dud, if I'm being completely honest. I think Amin was the one leading that one, and it just didn't. I don't even
understand about the chicken. The free chicken?
It might have been. Yeah, I was just kind of like, I don't understand what the point of this episode is, like at all.
There's some of those, which I find okay.
But yeah, the highs are just like
the highs are insane. Like the highs might be forcing the sixth richest man on the planet to sell his basketball team high. That is insane.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pablo Torre. To me, for my money, best podcast on the internet, hands down. And so he looked into a certain company called Aspiration. All right. And this company just recently filed for bankruptcy. It had celebrity endorsements galore from like Leonardo DiCaprio to Robert Downey Jr. And notably, the largest single contract given out by Aspiration was a $28 million pact, at least what was on paper, a $28 million pact over the course of 4 years, for $7 million a year, And in their bankruptcy filing, there was still a $7 million of this amount of this contract left over to be paid out. And this basically turned into a rabbit hole where Pablo found out that Steve Ballmer made a sizable contribution to Aspiration and made an investment, and then sent over essentially a $50 million check, of which I assume that $28 million was supposed to be coming out of that to help to pay to Kawhi Leonard to get him to resign. And it sounds like the timing on it was with Kawhi, not Kawhi's free agency contract that he signed in 2019, but his extension that he signed in 21. So the contract extension that he ended up signing instead of hitting the market might have been related to, because it ended up being like a cap favoring kind of contract deal. And so the suspicion is that this deal was used as a sweetener. This Aspiration deal was used as a kind of a sweetener to get Kawhi to do, the thing. Well, the Clippers have been making a lot of good headlines lately, up until 2 days ago. They've obviously opened into a dome. Steve Ballmer is one of the few owners in sports who did not take taxpayer money to fund his arena. Did basically just copped it himself, and that's definitely something to be respected. But yeah, here we are, boys. Essentially, Steve Ballmer, the allegation is that Steve Ballmer and or members of the Clippers facilitated the circumvention of the salary cap by investing in Aspiration and, doing a kind of like what Pablo Torre called the money did a round trip, where Steve Ballmer invested the money and it came back around to another purpose that he would have liked to see served. And during the episode, David Sampson read the contract, the endorsement contract between Kawhi Leonard and Aspiration, in which it was revealed that there were multiple deliverables with like opt-outs of like, if Kawhi doesn't feel like it, it's but there was one ironclad rule, and that was in the termination clause, and it was to say, if Kawhi leaves the Clippers for any reason, like, and it says like, to paraphrase, it basically says, to be clear, if he's traded by the Clippers and still being paid by the Clippers, that counts as he's not on the Clippers anymore, we can terminate this contract. And I was like, Jesus, tap dancing Christ. Like, why don't you just tell him you're paying him for the Clippers? Like, so that was what it was about. And it explains that Kawhi might have gotten a little money on the side. Now, Murph, you were able to, you said somebody, the Red Sox beat reporter, somebody in Boston uncovered another detail or wrinkle?
It's a Boston reporter, and a lot of people believe it, like he was into this as well because of the Red Sox affiliation with Aspiration as well, because the Red Sox were one of the first teams to team up with them. Not surprising, Harvard company doing work in Boston. That kind of just tracks through and through. But basically, they found that there was a $20 million shares were also given to Kawhi Leonard. So this kind of closes the loop for me, because listening to the whole podcast, that was the one gap with Pablo Torre, and he might have had this and just didn't release it. I mean, anyone who's seen the podcast knows that that has a big stack of papers that was on, and there's no way he went through the whole paper trail. It definitely was giving me the vibe that he was baiting people to come out with some initial deflections that he can pounce on and be like, no. But yeah, through that, basically they came out and got the $20 million. And the gap I had was $50 million essential check from was Steve Ballmer, and it was I can't remember what the company that he used to do it was. Pol Pot. It was close to Pol Pot, because they made a Pol Pot joke during it. I think it was Pol Pat. But Ballmer's basically like personal slush fund. That's not illegal or anything. I'm not trying to imply otherwise. But like at a $50 million check and then only $28 million going to Kawhi, that didn't make a lot of sense to me, because that's a $22 million VIG or brokerage fee, and that just makes zero sense any way you look at it. But now, if there was also $20 million in stock given to Kawhi, and it just wasn't on the Chapter 11 report because the stock is worthless and it's not a payout, then that starts to make a little bit more sense, because now you're talking about $48 million going to Kawhi of the $50 million and a $2 million VIG, 4% business transaction. That starts to make a lot more sense as to a deal that, actual business people would come up with. Because Ballmer, he's not an idiot, and like paying $22 million for a brokerage fee of $28 million is just not something you do. And it's not like he had problems investing in them, because he had sent a lot of money in them through different like little partnership groups and other stuff. So if you just wanted to directly invest the money, he had already been doing that on much larger sums in different ways. So that was the one loop that Pablo Torre's podcast didn't really clean up for me. But that report that came out today does answer that last question of $22 million. Why is there a $22 million gap? And now the gap is reduced to $2 million, which makes a lot more sense.
Sorry, guys.
I should have kept going. I knew you were still eating too.
This page is awful. I hate Blackstone so
I
much.
thought you said you weren't going to eat it.
Oh my god, it's terrible.
Well,
It's nothing like
willpower can only go so far.
I want my butterscotch crumpet back. This is bullshit. Yeah, that's and Murph, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for summarizing that. It's 48 million sounds like a nice rounder number, because I was like, $7 million a year. What the hell is this? And I was just kind of like, is this Uncle Dennis's like walk around money? Like, what is this? And no, it turns out no. 50 million is a sweetener. Dan, you have some issues with how this has been covered since it broke. So, and I think we all do. But yeah. I wanted you to kind of lead the discussion here. Yeah, what are some of the issues that you're seeing with the way this is being covered and broken down?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the reporting, or like the reporting on the story on ESPN, or the big sports media companies is sort of downplaying this, and someone like Bobby Marks went on TV and was explaining how there's no smoking gun, like there's no like. This is there's like an in-between company, so like there's no direct link between Ballmer and Kawhi, so like clearly like this doesn't prove anything.
I wish Bobby Marks worked for the IRS. That would be awesome.
But like, yeah, come on, like we said, they went through the contract, they have the contract, and they were able to like show just how like the one stipulation was him stay on this specific team. And then they have multiple employees in the company coming out and saying that they like the top priority was to pay this specific contract, even when the company was going out of business. Like the number one thing was to pay this no-show contract, like $7 million a year to Kawhi Leonard for nothing. Like he literally never even posted about them. Yeah, and then there was also the one that really annoyed me was on ESPN radio, I think on Danny Green's show. He was talking to someone else, and they were sort of like almost offended that Pablo Torre had done this, because they were like, why would he do this? Like he's gonna like upset the Clippers and Kawhi. Like they were only worried about like stepping on the toes of these big entities and sort of losing access. Like their priority is to sort of like keep them happy and keep, like, I think the direct quote was like, I could have, like, I wouldn't let's see, I have it open here. I'm not trying to get on Kawhi's bad side. He could give me an exclusive interview. I'm not trying to get on Steve Ballmer's bad side. The Clippers are going to exist for the next 50 to 100 years. Like that's not what, like, he's calling himself a journalist, but that's not what a journalist does. Like, you're supposed to, like, the truth is supposed to be the priority, not just getting sound bites from Kawhi Leonard.
And like, that's the whole thing with these like access journalists. And you're seeing this is how Shams has reported this as well. Is like, they're not really journalists. They're essentially PR mouthpieces that just aren't directly employed, because there's no like searching for truth. There's no objective measure of it. They're basically just repeating what someone else says. And there was a use, I believe, back in the day for access journalists because of the limited amount of ways to, you know, get word out and to have your stuff like reach out. But with podcasts and everything else, Twitter, people can make their opinion on anything known. Like there's not an access limitation anymore. And so I don't really feel the point for access journalists at this point. Like, do we really need Shams like breaking a trade 2 seconds before everyone else does and spoiling every first round pick in the NBA draft? Like these are what access journalists do. They just repeat information that's going to come out anyway, or they just repeat stuff that the person or a PR firm could have repeated anyway. There's no fact checking. There's nothing else. They're just releasing statements and agreeing with it. And that's basically what he's advocating for, is like, oh no, I could let Kawhi Leonard talk to me, whatever, where he gets to control like the whole narrative. Okay, cool. Like, if you're not going to report this on him, I really don't believe an exclusive interview you're going to do with him is going to provide anything illuminating. You're just going to let him basically make a mini documentary in a 30-minute interview, and that's what you seem to value over actually like getting to the bottom of stuff like this. It's just not something I can really get behind. And as you said, it's tough to even call it journalism, really, because you aren't really taking sides or like writing like a real like op-ed even. You're really just writing PR fluff statements for people that you want to keep access to. And yeah,
I think
Not really
mouthpiece
value.
is the word for it. Like you're just saying what they want you to say.
Yeah.
Which,
I prefer ventriloquist dummy with a hand up
Yep.
your ass. Journalism is subjective, boys. The standards that govern journalism is pretty subjective, and that's what leads to these types of yeah. I mean, look at the quote, guys. How archaic is that? You want an exclusive with Kawhi? Like, why don't you just talk to him? You know what I mean? Like, okay. Or what is the big takeaway from having that, to Colin's point, right? Is like, if Kawhi wants to talk to us, he'll talk to us. He'll say something, and it's probably going to be business interested. Like, all right, great. Like,
also Kawhi's only going to talk to us when he wants to talk to us anyway. Like, it's not like you're going to pry an interview out of him that he doesn't want to do. Like,
yeah, just for you, because you're like, and that's the thing, is like, and I know I'm skirting a very thin line here. I'm also revealing my my Reddit handle, which is really awkward. It's a throwaway, but yeah, that's one of my Reddit handles.
throwaway, you had like 39 unread messages.
Yeah. What do I really?
I can't read the number. It's too small.
It's one. Come on.
No. The number next to the orange is the.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, I just yeah. My real Reddit account's on my phone. Fun stuff aside, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. I have to delete it anyway now. But the fun part, is it still showing?
Yes.
yeah.
Unbelievable. I love it. Super serious discussion about journalism. No, so my problem, and I was a part of this world where access was king, and you were terrified of losing your access. When people will talk about, so I did A&E for the school paper, and I did the football team, and everybody is terrified. And the only time you get real takes and real gossip and the hot stuff is always like off the record. You know, like off the record, not going to make it to print. It's just a bunch of old dudes talking shit in the press box about the team and all the drama that's going on with the boosters and all that shit. And I just found it like really strange that this very archaic mindset still exists in an age where like practically everything is on the table. Like if there was like, we were at a point where, and this is horrible by the way, but like there was a point where like if a nude photo of a celebrity existed on a phone, it made it public. Like that was like how crazy it was. Like there is nothing private anymore, guys. Like it's just, so like what is with this gatekeeping access and whatever? It's nonsense. And so the thing I find refreshing about Pablo's approach is that he's not doing, it's hard for me to call that capital J journalism because it's like, I mean, the subject matter is sports, but like at the same time, he's employing those methods for sure.
Yeah.
And he's definitely like to that end, also establishing that there are people out there who are curious about the truth. What the hell's going on underneath all that? And that's the driving sentiment. It's not these rules of journalism. It's not these like form questions. It's the content question. It's the question of what exactly are we going after here? And Pablo answers that question better than fucking anybody I've seen in this business. Okay. Like he knows what he's going after and he's going to identify it and he's going to tell us all about it. And that takes real balls. And I really, really, really want to applaud one person. It just takes one source, guys. One source to corroborate everything. And if that person can put their name on it and can establish that and it's vetted, that source can break a story. And the reason why that's so important is because it legally protects Pablo. because he has a source and he has he verified the claims of the source and is able to say that the source is willing to say this. And to me, that is an act of bravery that it goes very unnoticed and very underrated. Like, you are a whistleblower for the 6th richest man on the fucking planet. Like, yo, get a vest and some security guards. It's like seriously though. Okay. So I just really want to shout out Pablo's source for going on and just spilling the beans. It sounded very, very sassy. Had some problems with the company for sure. But
I mean, that part's not surprising at all, though. Like, I imagine most people that applied to a company like Aspiration were probably in it for the social good and, trying to be a part of something. And then to be on the financial side and realize that 90% of the LOIs were fake, as he claimed, and basically the whole thing was a fraud and a scam. And then one of the co-founders gets literally arrested. And I imagine, yeah, you're kind of just like, wow, I thought I was doing something really good, helping the environment. And instead, this was basically just an embezzlement scheme.
I mean, is anyone shocked? Nobody's planting that many fucking trees. Let's be real. Come on.
No, but still, it's not surprising to me that people who would have applied and low level, grunts almost, stuff would have applied for the noble vision of it and just been very put off when they saw what it actually ended up being.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Colin makes a good point. I think, and you do too, like after the fact, a company like this turning out to be a fraud, isn't surprising. But before that, it's saying that it's doing this thing. And it's one of the few companies that, if you're trying to do the social good, you can try and apply and make some positive good. And then that turns out to be shit too. It's just a rug pull. And that, that sucks. But,
and that makes me sad because it's a real problem.
You're that tracks.
Yeah, they're trying to solve a real problem. The company Aspiration was actually trying to solve a real problem.
Well,
I don't know if they themselves were trying to. They acknowledge the existence of a real problem. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I'm pretty cynical on the whole idea from the start. The whole
I don't think they actually tried
for it to plant trees. BS. It was a scam from the start.
I think we established that actually. It's been established that is it's actually a net negative. The effort it takes to plant the tree ends up being a net negative. No, yeah, it's a noble. Their mission statement is that's to be clear. Their mission statement acknowledges a very real problem, and it sucks that gets co-opted into this big, basically rug pull scam, as Dan calls it, right? That is it's taking well-meaning people in terms of people who are trying to work here in the case of our source, and just so I think that was the really I couldn't help but think about that while I'm listening to the episode. It was damn, yo, climate change is real though. This is a serious problem. And for these guys to take all these celebrities and all of Hollywood and round them all up and put them behind this cause and turn it into one of the biggest, a crypto scam before a crypto scam, basically, is just it's so disheartening, dude. It's like a gut punch, right? You're just it's a serious fucking problem, guys. And why are you turning this into a joke? Why are you turning this into every other damn thing that's happening in America right now? Late stage capitalism and shitification, right? Why? Why are you doing this? Because I actually care about this cause, and I really wish that we would fucking fix it. And when you do stuff like this, you undermine the entire cause.
But even worse, yes, it's a crypto scam before a crypto scam, but the number one priority at the end was to help the Clippers circumvent the salary cap.
Yeah, that can't be forgotten. Which I want to do this quick rundown of the Clippers since pre-Kawhi. They had Loft City. It was a lot of fun. Ballmer picked it up. Donald Sterling sold the team. Ballmer picked it up. And everybody thought, oh my God, the fortunes will change. And sure enough, they traded it away. Some draft picks, a lot of draft picks, and a lesser known, less heralded player named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And
Gilgeous, I think the guy.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Never heard of this guy. They get Paul George, they get Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi Leonard does, I'm sorry, fuck all for them for like half a decade now, going on half a decade. Paul George, same shit.
Plays.
Yeah, Paul George is gone now. The Clippers have made 0 NBA finals. They have been knocked out of the playoffs. The Lakers fucking won the NBA finals before they did, despite making all these moves. Shai Gilgeous, or little known ball player, Shai Gilgeous Alexander, won in the fucking NBA finals and the NBA finals MVP and the MVP before the Clippers produced an MVP or even an NBA finals team. This is like, guys. And now it turns out that when they have they got Kawhi and they kept him, they did it in a legal way. There's a chance that Steve Ballmer, who just built like this amazing, huge fucking cathedral to basketball for billions of dollars, is going to be forced to sell the team. Like after, like right at, like you want to talk about a rug pull? Like, whoo, this is, yeah. He might, like, by all accounts, including Shams, I think reported, NBA teams are pissed about this. Like they are understandably fucking very upset. Yeah. And if there was ever a time to force a vote to sell a team, to have a vote to force the sale of a team, this is it right here. This is it right here. Because like it's one thing with the Joe Smith contract with Minnesota. Joe Smith was like, he was pretty good. You know, he was like a little underwhelming. Yeah, he was the first. He was solid. We're talking in the realms like million extra on side, little take home cash. $50 million for at the time probably the best free agent in the NBA, unquestionably the best free agent in that class, but also like one of the best players, the top 3 player in the NBA. And the fact that Steve Ballmer can do this ad nauseum over and over again, and who knows, if not for a bankruptcy, we would not have found out. It does have sell the fucking team written all over it, doesn't it? Like, Murph, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing you have to consider here, though, is this isn't even his first time being, charged with this. He did get fined for using endorsements to circumvent the cap with DeAndre Jordan. That was they slapped him on a wrist. So I think it was only like $25K, maybe $50K. I can't remember the exact number. But this isn't like this is his first allegation. Like
literally nothing. Right?
Yeah, yeah, fair. But this isn't the first time he's done this. I think also, if anyone thinks that they're probably, I mean, you probably have a lot to dig into on the free agency acquisition as well. Like this is all just tied to the extension. When you had teams like the Spurs, the Raptors, and the Lakers all allege that, weird requests were being made by Kawhi's team and Uncle Dennis, and then he magically signs with the Clippers, and then the extension now has like a lot of smoke around it. I don't think anyone would be surprised if that first free agent signing turns out to be a huge issue as well. What I do think is kind of weird about this whole thing, though, from a basketball competitive stance, is that if they go too hard on the Clippers, they're going to be horrible, and that's going to benefit the Thunder, who are already stacked. So there is a weird perverse system here where I do wonder how strict the teams are going to want to be on nuking the Clippers because of just how many picks the Thunder own. I think they still have 2 of the Clippers picks. You could be causing like a real strong Thunder dynasty here. And I do think that's going to be in the back of some people's minds when they do this. I think the most likely thing that's going to happen, I think they'll probably void the Kawhi contract. They did that with Joe Smith back in the day, and that's the most apples to apples comparison that we really have to something like this. And that was they voided the Joe Smith contract, and they took 5 firsts, reduced it later down to 3. This is way more egregious than that. That was your traditional handshake. Hey, when the cap goes up, we'll sign you to a bigger extension. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Except for I think they put it in writing because they're idiots. But basically, that's kind of the thing that the NBA kind of is. That's been going on for a while. I don't think that really shocks anyone. But this one, I mean, this is pretty blatant. This is a large amount of money. This also, because of the amount of money that because there was a report that he didn't take everything he could have. Like we're also talking about revenue sharing money that was like, so the other owners are going to view this as money being directly stolen from them potentially, not even just talking about the competitive balance and other things. So there's a lot really to go on here. But I do think the one saving grace they might have, besides the competitive balance part, is how widespread is that? I am still largely of the belief that the Astros got off relatively unpunished because a lot of the league was cheating. And I believe that meeting was more about, hey, everyone, knock it off. The Astros, you got caught. And by the way, you're the most blatant, but we'll like give you a slap on the wrist. Because if we go too hard, they'll go nuclear and just expose the whole league for being...
They'll roll over on everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. And with Pablo Torre, did hint that Jalen Brunson, he might have something on a future pod about the Brunson signing, which means the Knicks could be implicated. And hard to believe only stops with 2 teams here. So if you have a lot of teams that could feel that they're potentially going to get the heat for this, then Ballmer could have a lot of surprise backers. I'm actually very intrigued to see who is going to defend Ballmer. I hope that vote gets released public, because I think it's going to be very much a telling on yourselves moment of, do I think I was going to get exposed? I mean, just as a Rockets fan, there were rumors going around a long time that Harden was given certain perks. Now, whether these were normal perks, like, access to the team jet, stuff like that, or this went well beyond to like Kawhi territory, who knows? But star players getting a little extra is far from unusual. And, we all worked at Baller before this. We've been to some of those AAU circuits. It's not like this isn't prevalent even at the middle school level up in basketball. So to think it stops in the NBA is kind of foolish as well. But that's the only saving grace I think Ballmer probably has here, is how widespread is this? This is definitely probably one of the more egregious acts, just by virtue of it being one of the best players in the world and one of the richest owner by far, and one of the richest people in the world. So the money involved on both ends is obviously just going to flat out be higher. Just when you factor those two things in together. But if you have a bunch of other teams that are caught doing this, you're going to see some allies and maybe a more contentious vote. Cuban already has thrown his hat in the ring defending Ballmer as well. Mavs telling on themselves that those Dirk deals late in the career, now the advisory role. Is there something else that was going on? I just think that is probably the best case scenario. If I'm a Clippers fan, is you have to go full Astros. Everyone was doing this. What's called, we might have been the most egregious. Stop making a huge deal out of this. This is just how it was done.
My counter argument to this is that I think there's only a handful of teams that would actually go to these lengths to skirt the cap, and have the resources to do it effectively. And I can say Dan will join me on this, with full-throated confidence, that the Lakers have not been doing any of this because they haven't been signing anybody noteworthy in the past like 10 fucking years. But all joking aside, I do see the scenario where there's
that includes LeBron. Just so we're clear, haven't signed anyone in 10 years.
Yeah, that is
only the best basketball player.
It's hyperbolic, but to an extent.
If you're doing this kind of thing and then you let Alex Caruso walk in free agency for like when he's asking $25 million,
remember when we paid Timothy Mozgov like $60 million or something, and then Luol Deng, we waived and stretched him. That sounds like a team that's really just doing under the table. We're really just maximizing our resources. Good God, bro.
But I believe the Knicks doing this too.
100%.
Like there are like you said, there's only a few teams that I would fully believe are in on doing stuff like this. But at the same time, if those few teams probably hold a lot of sway with the league, like they're, big markets, big teams with big fan bases. And it would, I can see Murph's point. If this doesn't come to Ballmer being forced to sell, it'll raise a lot more questions.
Yeah. I would be very curious if it's like, I would need to see the punishment, but the fact that everybody's coming out and downplaying this, to Dan's point and Amber's point, it's like, hey, this is supposed to be a very big deal, guys. What's going on? Why so quiet?
I am heartened with the reports that the teams in the league are
fucking furious.
Yeah, that makes it sound, at least for now, that something's gonna happen. But if it ends up petering out, then you're like, why? Well,
Cuban doesn't own the team anymore, all right? So his little under the table Dirk deals off the books. Cuban probably saw this coming, and that's why he sold his minority stake. He was just like, he sold his majority stake. He's like, oh shit, what's coming down?
My favorite conspiracy theory is that Sam Presti is the one that leaked it to Pablo Torre so that he could get better Clipper picks. That's the tinfoil hat I believe in. But I do think that regardless of what comes out of this, silver has to come down strong in the sense that you have to close this loophole up, because this is, if you're not coming down strong here, you're basically saying the salary cap is irrelevant, because this is just going to become the norm. And I just can't see that being the stance the league takes when every small market kind of also somewhat depends on revenue sharing money and other stuff. And if the big teams can get out of paying their fair share by blatantly obvious back channel deals like this, then that defeats the whole purpose of a CBA and like the salary cap and the apron. And at that point, basically everything kind of falls apart. And I think there's more small markets and cheap owners than there are the big spenders. And so that's why I think, so to me, this loophole is going to get closed. The Clippers are going to get hit. It's just question is how hard is it going to get hit? And that's where I think the league will be telling on themselves on how widespread this really is.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's
but
fair.
Yeah, like one quote that they kept saying on the podcast is Adam Silver saying that this is the cardinal sin. Like cap circumvention is so key to teams are jumping through hoops to make as many of their good players fit under the cap.
Yeah.
This is just making them.
Look at the Celtics. They had a fire sale.
Yeah,
straight up, because they can't be second apron. Yo, guys, sorry, bye.
I mean, it's not even hyperbolic. It literally, ruins the competitive integrity of the league when you're able to do stuff like this.
Literally.
Literally a problem.
When literally everyone else is being held to these very strict rules, and then if you're Steve Ballmer, you can afford to just
YOLO 50 million outside. But also, I mean, just think of how many weird trades have happened because of how punitive the new CBA is. And the fact that the other owners put in this punitive CBA specifically to stop the Warriors and Ballmer. Those are the two teams that they specifically were concerned about and put the rules in. So it's hard to believe that the same owners that voted for that and wanted such strict policies are going to be so cool with such a blatant, flagrant violation and basically a precedent being set that everyone can go around this going forward. Because for a fact the Warriors will cheat instantly, or not cheat, but they'll use this because their salary's already super high, but they've talked about wanting to extend Curry's the Curry Core's group, and their big problem has been how punitive the apron is. But if they can get around that, then all of a sudden a lot more doors open for them to remain competitive. So I just can't see the league going too soft here. But
which is to say, if the league was in on it truly, we would see more irregularities. I feel to that effect, right? We would be able to kind of see because I mean, would Draymond really punch Jordan Poole if he knew that they both were able to stay? No, think about it, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah. No, but it's funny just because I was watching the Pablo Torre episode about that as well.
It's a great episode too. Well, we got to close up here because we're running past. Damn, this was supposed to be a mini episode, and we're just blowing through this. Yeah, we got to kind of close here, but guys, it's been a magical week in sports, and by magical I mean nothing makes me happier than seeing the Clippers suffer. I think I prefer it to Lakers winning. It's just seeing Clipper.
Well, it's more consistent, if nothing else.
It's more reliable.
Yeah.
Well, the Lakers win reliably too. It's just stretches apart sometimes. But man, the Clippers being Clippers, that's every year one way or another. I just love it. But yeah, thanks for joining us for this special edition. And we will see you guys next Tuesday. Same time, same place.
Sounds good.